Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel MNR's Digital Classes. In this session, we are going to learn about stellar evolution. This is the first lecture in stellar evolution. This presentation is prepared by referring to two books. The first book referred in the preparation of this content is Astronomy, A Beginner's Guide to the Universe, 8th edition, published in 2016, authored by Eric Stasson and Steve McMillan. The second book referred in the preparation of this content is Discovering the Universe, 8th edition, published in 2007, authored by Neil F. Cummins and William J. Kaufman III. The pathways of stellar evolution. The different pathways of an evolving star are birth divided into 5 stages. The first stage is the birth stage, main sequence, volt stage, death, and remnant. We know that the planetary nebula or giant molecular clouds are the birthplace for any star. The huge clouds of gas and dust present in the molecular clouds are the birthplaces. When these gaseous clouds are in dust, when they condense under their own gravity, then that leads to the formation of a protostar, a star, and it is called as protostar. This usually a single or an isolated protostar. Evolution of an isolated protostar is never possible. Always they form in the form of the cluster of stars. They are called as open clusters. What happens next to this protostar depends on its mass. If its mass is less than 0.08 times the mass of the sun, then it never evolve into a star, because this low mass will not lead to the thermonuclear fusion reactions. Hence, it will become a dead star or a brown dwarf star. The path traced by the star depends on its initial mass. If the initial mass in the protostar stage is less than 8 times the mass of the sun, this is called as a low mass star. If the mass is greater than 8 times the mass of the sun, then it is called as a massive star. First, let us understand the path traced by the low mass star. A low mass star remains in the main sequence stage until the thermonuclear fusion reactions occur inside its core. Once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, it becomes a red giant stage. In several mechanisms occur in the red giant stage, and then the outer core explodes to form a planetary nebula, and the inner core contracts to form a white dwarf, satisfying the Chandrasekhar limit condition. This white dwarf over a few millions of years converts into black dwarf, diminishes and converts into black dwarf. There is another possibility for this red giant stage. Since 90% of the stars in the space are binary stars, so if this forms a binary, red giant star forms a binary with a white dwarf star, then its mass is accreted by or pulled by the gravity of white dwarf star. Then if its mass increases, if the mass of this star is less than 1.4 times the mass of the sun, then it explodes into a nova, and the remaining mass of the core converts into white dwarf, and then it diminishes to brown dwarf. There is another possibility. If the mass is greater than 1.4 times the mass of the sun, then it undergoes type 1a supernova explosion. Now let us understand the evolution of massive stars. If the mass of the sun is greater, mass of the star is greater than 8 times the mass of the sun, then it is called as a massive star. This massive star undergoes thermonuclear fusion reaction by carbon-nitrogen-oxygen cycle. Once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, it converts into a red giant. Then it explodes to form type 2 supernova explosion, and its remnant is left in the space. The inner core contracts, and what happens to the next stage depends on its initial mass. If the initial mass is less than 40 times the mass of the sun, then it converts into a neutron star, and it is detected in the form of pulsars. If the initial mass at the protostar stage is greater than 40 times the mass of the sun, then it becomes a black hole, and its existence is detected by X-ray emission. Now let us understand in more detail about the stellar evolution. Before that, let us compare the life cycle of the star with human lifespan. This picture makes the comparison of the evolution of the star or the life cycle of the star with human lifespan. We have the 4 different stages: birth, life cycle or evolution, death, and remnant or the graveyard. A star took its birth in the stellar nursery or the planetary nebula. This stage is called as the pre-main sequence stage, and the star formed is called as protostar. This can be compared with the fetus inside the womb of the mother. Next is the life cycle of the star. The star is said to be a living star if the thermonuclear fusion reactions occur. Similarly, a fetus is considered to be a newborn child if it starts breathing. The evolution of the child takes place from the childhood to the adulthood, infancy through adulthood. Similarly, the star, a protostar, converts into a main sequence star and it evolves. Then, once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, it becomes, the next stage is called as the post-main sequence stage. Here we have the red giant stage and planetary nebula or supernova stage. Similarly, this can be compared with the middle age and old age of the human beings. Once the human being stops breathing, it is said to be, he or she is said to be dead, and dead body is buried in the graveyard. Similarly, when a star is dead, it leaves the remnant in the form of white dwarf, neutron star, or black hole. This is how we can compare the life cycle of the star with human lifespan. Now let us consider the simplified block diagram of life cycle of the star. We have the planetary nebula, which is the birthplace of any new star. In the battle between the gravity and heat, a new star is born. That new star is called as a protostar. Now, if the mass of this protostar is comparable to that of the sun, then it is called as a small or less massive star, and its path is main sequence stage to red giant to planetary nebula explosion, which leads to white dwarf. If the mass is greater than that of the sun, then it is called as a massive star in the main sequence stage. Then, after the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, it becomes a red giant, leading to supernova explosion, and either the core will either convert into a neutron star or a black hole. This is a simplified block diagram of life cycle of the star. Now let us understand the evolutionary stages of low mass stars. A star is said to be low mass star if its initial mass in the protostar stage is 8 times the mass of the sun, or if its mass is comparable to that of Sun in the main sequence stage. There are two ways of defining the low mass stars. One is initial mass in the protostar stage, which should be greater than 8 times the mass of the Sun, or in the main sequence stage, its mass must be comparable to that of the Sun. Now, the stage 1. The stars are formed in a nebula. Nebula is the birthplace of any star. The giant molecular clouds or the cloud or the dust condenses into a huge globe of gas and dust, and it contracts under its own gravity. In the first stage, the huge gaseous cloud and dust contracts under its own gravity. This is the pictorial representation of a planetary nebula or the gaseous cloud, which is the birthplace of any star. In the second stage, due to contraction, the heating up of the star, that is the gaseous clouds, takes place, which leads to and starts to glow, forming protostars. The central temperature of the core can reach up to 15 million degrees. This protostar looks like a star, but still it is not in complete star formation is not yet completed because thermonuclear fusion reactions are not yet initiated in the protostar stage. This is a pictorial representation of a protostar. In the next stage, the third stage, the nuclear reactions start and hydrogen starts fusing to form helium. In the next stage, the star begins to release energy. Once the energy release starts, it stops from contracting. The outward energy flux will stop the star from contracting and it causes to shine. Now it takes a definite shape and size and it's called as main sequence star. Here the picture represents the Sun, which is a main sequence star. In the next stage, a star whose mass comparable to one solar mass, that is a low mass star, remains in the main sequence stage for about 10 billion years until all the hydrogen fuse to form helium. This is the main sequence stage. During main sequence stage, continuously hydrogen fuses to form helium with the release of enormous amount of energy which escapes from the surface of the star. The next stage, the stage 6, the helium core. Once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, the inner core, helium core starts contract further and the reactions to begin to occur in the shell around this core. The inner core contracts and the thermonuclear fusion reactions takes place in the outer shells of around the core. The core is hot enough for the helium to fuse to form carbon, that is by triple alpha process, while the outer layers begin to expand, cool and shine less brightly. This expanding star is now called as red giant star. The inner core, the temperature of the inner core rises up to 15 million Kelvin, which leads to fusion of helium to form carbon core, while the outer shells or the outer layers of the star begin to expand, and during the expansion the temperature falls down, they become cool and shine less brightly. This expanding star is called as red giant star. Now observe here, if the Sun becomes a red giant star, its size due to this expansion it becomes very large in size. This picture gives the comparison of Sun in the main sequence stage and when it converts into red giant star. Next stage, In the next stage, when the helium core runs out, the outer shells of the gaseous shell explodes, and that leads to the formation of planetary nebula. This picture represents the planetary nebula. Next stage is the ninth stage time. Almost 20% of the mass is exploded in the form of planetary nebula, while the remaining core, almost 80% of its original mass, now it is in its final stage. This core becomes a white dwarf, and the star eventually cools and dims to form a brown dwarf star or a dead star. Observe, if the sun becomes a white dwarf, then its core will shrink to a very small size, as shown in this figure. The last stage, when the white dwarf star stops shining, this is called as a dead star, and it leaves the remnant as black dwarf. Let us understand the evolution of low mass star with the help of a chart diagram. In the main sequence stage, for example, if you take the sun, which is less mass comparable to this star, low mass star, the evolutionary track of the sun from the main sequence stage is followed. It remains in the main sequence stage for about 4.5 billion years. And once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, then right now the age of the sun is 4.5 billion years. After 12.2 billion years, over a period of 12 billion years, it converts into a red giant stage, where the burning of hydrogen in the inner core stops and helium core in the core ignites to form the helium flash, while the outer shells, still the burning of hydrogen occurs. Then the burning of helium in the core leads to the formation of yellow giant from red giant stage to yellow giant stage. Then it converts into a red supergiant stage depending on its mass, and the outer core explodes to form a planetary nebula, whereas the inner core shrinks and ejects the gas to form the planetary nebula, and this inner core starts cooling to form a white dwarf star. And over a period of few billion years, it converts into a brown dwarf. This is the path traced by the low mass star. Sun, over a period of 12 billion years, converts into red giant stage. After 0.3 billion years, it converts into yellow giant stage. Then red supergiant stage, depending on the mass. Then the inner core shrinks and ejects the gases in the outer layers in the form of planetary nebula, and it starts cooling down to form a white dwarf star. Now let us understand the evolutionary track of high mass stars. A star is said to be a massive star or a high mass star if its initial mass in the protostar stage is 8 times the mass of the sun. The planetary nebula is the birthplace of high mass stars also. Any star, whether it is low mass or high mass. In the first stage, a new star is said to born due to the battle between the gravitation and heat in the planetary nebula. In the second stage, a massive star develops similar to a small low mass star until it reaches its main sequence stage. The next stage is the massive star becomes a red supergiant star. Once the thermonuclear fusion reaction stops, it becomes a red giant stage and starts off with a helium core surrounded by a shell of cooling and expanding gases. The next stage, stage 4, over a period of millions years, a series of nuclear reactions occur, forming different elements in the shells around the iron core. The innermost core of the star forms the iron core, and successive layers will be formed with different elements. The core collapses in less than a second. In the next stage, the core collapses in less than a second, causing an explosion called as supernova, in which a shock wave blows off the outer layers of the star. This is a supernova explosion. Next stage, what happens depends on the mass. If the mass at this stage of the core, if the mass of this core left out, if it is less than 3 times the mass of the sun, but greater than 1.44 times the mass of the sun, then it converts into neutron star. The core survived during this supernova explosion. If its mass is between 1.5 to 3 times the solar mass, then it contracts to become a tiny, very dense neutron star. The alternative to this one is, if the core is much greater than 3 times the mass solar, 3 times the solar mass, then the core contracts to become a black hole. There are two possibilities. If the core left out, if the core survives, then if its mass is between 1.5 to 3 times the mass of the sun, then it becomes a neutron star. If it is greater than 3 times the mass of the sun, then it becomes a black hole. This is the black hole. Now let us understand the evolutionary track of the high mass star with the help of a chart diagram. Usually in the main sequence stage, its mass is much greater than 8 times the mass of the sun, approximately 15. Here we have a star whose mass is 15 times the mass of the sun. Once the thermonuclear fusion reaction starts, it evolves into the red supergiant stage through the burning helium inside the core, and it becomes red giant. The core, the triple alpha cores in the red giant stage, triple alpha process initiates, and it continuously helium fuses until it forms iron core. And different shells will lead to formation of different elements. This burning heavy elements will lead to explosion called as supernova explosion. If the core, if it survives, then that core will become either a neutron star or black hole. Now let us understand in brief the principles governing the structure of the star. The gravity holds the star together while the pressure supports the star against gravity. This pressure avoids the shrinking of the star due to gravity. The gravity and pressure forces must balance, or they must, hydrostatic equilibrium must be achieved to produce a sustained or a stable star. The pressure is created by high temperature inside the core of the star. This high temperature causes the heat to flow from the core to the surface, which produces the luminosity of the star. The escaping heat is replenished by nuclear fusion inside the core. Due to continuous nuclear fusion reactions, the energy is continuously produced in the form of heat. This heat energy is released from the core to the surface, which gives the star, which makes the star self-luminous. Once all the hydrogen fuses into helium, the star is eventually runs out of its fuel, and it will become a dead star. Depending on the mass, either it will become a white dwarf star, leaves white dwarf as its remnant, or a neutron star or a black hole as its remnant, depending on the mass. Low mass stars leaves a white dwarf as its remnant, A high mass star leaves either a neutron star or black hole as its remnant. High mass stars require more pressure to support their greater mass. That is, greater pressure is produced by higher temperatures. To produce the greater pressure, the temperatures must be very high. This higher temperature produces higher luminosity. Means higher luminosity leads to the faster fuel usage. The faster fuel usage means a high mass star burns out sooner than a low mass star. Means in case of a massive star, the thermonuclear fusion reaction takes place at a faster rate and hence it dies out quickly when compared to low mass stars. This is about the evolution of the star. Thank you.